Philippine Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Artemio M. Abu visited India for several reasons. This is the first one. Admiral Abu had a customer demonstration flight aboard one of the Indian Coast Guard's Dhruv ALH Mk-3 helicopters in Goa, India. It should be remembered that the Indian government is offering a line of credit to the Philippine government to allow the Philippine Coast Guard to acquire 6 to 7 new Dhruv ALH Mk-3 Coast Guard helicopters to fulfill its helicopter requirements. It remains to be seen, though, if the offer will be taken. It seems that the Philippine Coast Guard is quite interested in the Dhruv ALH Mk-3 helicopter equipment. Dhruv ALH Mk-3 is an interesting known platform, with the acquisition of 6 to 7 OPV helicopters a great opportunity. Maybe start with transferring the Philippines' OPV ICG. The Government of India has offered a credit facility to the Philippine government for the Philippine Coast Guard to purchase Indian-made vessels and helicopters, including those designed and built by Goa Shipyards Limited. HAL is in talks with the Philippines for the sale of 6 indigenous advanced light helicopters. Likely ALH Mk-3 for the Philippine Coast Guard under Indian lock. HAL's 2020-21 annual report noted interest from PCG for procuring 7 ALH and 8 Do-228. Recently, India presented its support by providing a credit line that is essential to defense matters as the AFP modernizes further. This is nothing new, as the same can be provided to the Philippine Coast Guard as that credit line has provided for the agency to procure air assets such as this helicopter from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Most of the discussions that we made about the Philippine Coast Guard usually talk about the ships the agency purchased and added to its fleet of white-hulled maritime enforcement vessels. Not to mention that we also discussed some other stuff that deals with the agency's desire to modernize further in terms of building additional facilities and improving its overall maritime domain awareness capabilities. This one will deal with India's offer that aims to strengthen relations of both countries in a way that they provide it for the Philippine Coast Guard to consider as it improves their air unit to implement maritime surveillance, search and rescue, and maritime enforcement. The first glimpse of this information came from an Indian defense outlet known as the Defense Star, citing their source to a certain Saurav Jha, wherein they detailed the Philippine Coast Guard's desire in buying at least 7 units of Dhruv Mk-3 helicopter and 8 locally produced Dornier Do-228s, both of which were built by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or known by its abbreviation HAL. This deal is said to be funded through a line of credit that India has provided to the Philippines, which is basically a form of soft loan that the Philippines can avail of, with India shouldering the cost of procuring these said assets, with the payables will be done according to the terms that both sides agreed in settling the loan used in procuring these assets. The variant that the Indians have offered here for the Dhruv helicopter will be the one specified for the Coast Guard use, such as the one seen in the image above, wherein such variant is also active in use within the Indian Coast Guard Air Unit, with the aircraft fitted with sensors on board that will be discussed further along the length of this article dealing the topic. There are other variants of the Dhruv helicopter that is served in other services within and outside India, with the Indian Armed Forces being the primary user of such aircraft, as all of the branches obtain these helicopters for their respective use, coming with different requirements that satisfy the needs that the Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy to operate. In this topic, we will be dealing more with the helicopter offer that the Indians have offered to the Philippine Coast Guard. With the topic about the Do-228s will have their own discussion and details, as these different assets came with different purposes and operational requirements. Shall the Maritime Law Enforcement Agency consider these assets for their own use? The HAL Dhruv helicopter family is considered the first indigenously built helicopter made by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, an achievement made by a company that produces multiple indigenously produced aeronautical products, alongside the license-built capabilities that the company obtains, all of which primarily serves the purpose to provide the Indian Armed Forces its needs. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited developed the platform as an advanced light helicopter with a 5.5-ton weight class, which is basically like other light helicopters such as the Airbus H-145 helicopters that the Philippine Coast Guard obtains. Albeit that the HAL Dhruv is capable of carrying more as opposed to the H-145's 3.7 tons maximum takeoff weight or MTOW.